So I'm driving down the road with my truck and my plow, and what typically happens is I'm on my way home from work, and on my way home from work I am driving up some inclines, and that is when my engine typically starts to overheat. So I'm trying to figure out what is the issue and why is this happening. Well, come to figure out, my fan clutch has gone bad. And how would you know that? Well, one of the ways that you can probably figure that out is by trying to spin the little bolt that is here, or nut, whatever you want to call it. This thing should be somewhat difficult to turn. Mine spins pretty easy on my truck, and that's not what it's supposed to be doing. Today we're going to switch this out because this is the new one for the old one. So now that the air intake tube is taken off, I'm going to grab the cool, amazing tool that I made to get the fan off. I don't have the tool, and I'm sure someday I'll go buy one, but for now I'm just going to build them because it's cheaper. I've had this thing off before, so it's not, shouldn't be hard to get out. So this one spins pretty easy, not a lot of resistance there. And this one here, this is definitely a lot stiffer, so. Well, after some driving around, I do not like this setup at all. I really don't. It's sucking so much power out of the truck. I think I'm just going to go with the electric fan system. The fan's not going to rely on the engine power itself to power it. And it will rely on an electric system that uses way less power. And actually tell that I'm losing a ton of fuel just on one trip to work. It took a quarter of a tank, which usually is an eighth of a tank. We'll see what a system like that will do. A little bit of a shame because the fan clutch that I used to have in there, okay, and it was actually pretty cheap. It was like 23 bucks or something crazy. I'm just gonna go with a system that's like 50 bucks. Maybe that will work better. All right, so our fan came in. As you can see here, the fancy thing. So when I went out to find one of these things, I popped the hood on my Nissan to see what kind of style that vehicle had. This is what I came up with. As you saw, it's like 50 bucks or whatever. So this should be pretty simple to install. It's got these little tabs right here that should make it, I would think, simple to install with like zip ties or whatever. And it's got like this temperature sensor and some wiring. So I decided to use this, the fan cowling, because I really don't, the way they design this is that you're supposed to mount this directly to the radiator by using these plastic deals that you literally push through your radiator, and I really don't see how that's really a beneficial thing for your radiator, so I'm going to scrap that idea, and I'm going to go with my idea because I think I'm just way smarter. Pretty much fix it in there like that. I'm thinking I might try to get this thing to run off of my little Ryobi battery here. See if I can do this without losing another one. I got this all figured out. It actually pushes quite a bit of air. I'm happy. Now I just gotta get it all fixed to this thing. On this side, the reason I made a lip on the outside here so that this whole sheet would stand away from the radiator. I don't want this pressing flat up against the radiator. So the radiator is going to be flush along here, but the fan, the old fan, would use this cowling in order to stand away from the radiator in order to pull air out of all of the radiator, because the radiator is square, obviously, as you see here. And if you're able to pull the fan away from the radiator, you're now able to pull air from the entire radiator rather than just a single circle, which is what that fan down there, if I had mounted it the way that they wanted me to mount it, it would only pull air from that one circle. But doing it this way, it will now pull air from all of this square space here. Not bad, I'd say. Turned out pretty good. Solid. Hopefully, this goes in smoothly. Not bad at all. The other reason why I made this all like this is because, as you see, it is super easy to get out if I have another problem. And I'll just buy another one and I'll slap it in and I'll throw it down and it'll be all set. Now that's a lot quieter. I much prefer that. So now that we have the fan installed, the wiring is the very last thing to do. So I've looked over my engine, and there's really no other place to put a temperature sensor in unless I want to take stuff off that I shouldn't be taking off. Once again, I'm going to have to make something to make that little thing work. And so here, this is what I came up with. As you see, I've installed the new temperature sensor here. If I wanted to install it on the actual block itself, I would have to somehow or another pull this part off, and this one here is the temperature sensing unit that you see in the dash. Obviously, I can't take those out. To improvise, I made myself a connection point where I can plug in my temperature sensing unit, and it will be right next to where the hottest part of the engine is going to be when the water is coming out. The way I made that little thing was taking a little pipe threaded butt connector here, chopped about half of it off, welded it on here. A little messy, but it's not leaking, and that's kind of the whole point. You got the wiring that comes out of the side of the fan. I'm just wrapping it with this corrugated plastic stuff and just getting this plugged in to the sensor unit. And as the final look, wiring comes out of the fan, gets covered in all this nice plastic stuff, like everything else should be. Comes around, plugs directly into the temperature sensor here, comes around, comes up into the relay switch. Time for a test run. Let's start this thing up. So this switch should be turning on in about 200 degrees, so I'm going to keep an eye on it with the gun. At 195 it turns on. Now I'm sure this was a life-changing video for you guys, and if it was, be sure to hit that like button so that I can continue producing these amazing videos. We'll see you guys next time.